Time to pick the beans again. This side, Pam. I'll go down a little way.
Well, good morning. I come over this morning to help Robert and Terry break beans that we got out of the garden. Well, I remember breaking beans with Mama. We always had a garden, and she always canned a lot. And I think I have a pressure cooker. She's just about like the one Mama had when I was a kid growing up.
I can remember going to Jellicoe, Tennessee when I was a small child, so that goes way back. My grandmother had a very large wash tub that she canned in. She would build, first she'd set up her cinder blocks so that she could set her wash tub up and it'd be level on top of that. She had built a big fire, and once the coals got good and hot, she would take her jars, put them in that wash tub, in water, and stuff old rags around them. The rags were to keep the jars from banging together. And she would go out there all day long. She sat up on the back porch. Of course, being in Jellicoe, she was actually on a hillside. The backyard was about 1.5 stories below the house. And she would take and go down there, put another piece of wood or two on the fire to make sure that those things stayed boiling. And she'd boil them, I know, for at least 5 or 6 hours in that tub. And that's how she canned her green beans. She would take them out of the water after it cooled down, and she stored them. We'd go in and eat them. I can remember that just as plain as day.
Well, I can remember sitting out in front of my Granny Hines's trailer. She lived next door to us, and my grandparents lived on the other side of her. And so with my Granny Hines and my Grandma Butler, we would sit outside when I was just a little girl and break beans until they were done. Because Daddy and Grandpa would always plant a huge garden. But I can remember the most that Granny and Grandma both kept the beans in their apron. They all wore aprons back in those days. This would have been in the 60s that I remember, but I'm grateful today that I learned how to do some canning and work in produce for my grandparents and my parents.
You know, I'm glad you've got your glasses on since we're working on beans.
And I probably still miss some.
Nah.
But I know, to me, these green beans, they taste so much better than canned green beans.
From the grocery store?
Yeah.
Well, there's a feeling of pride too,
Yep.
carrying down a tradition.
And sometimes it's like Mama's with me when I'm, like Daddy, me and Daddy always worked out in the garden. Sometimes when I'm out there, it's like I can feel him with me.
Yeah, you can remember the things, the days.
Do you know, I was thinking the other day about us breaking beans, and I thought there's one big difference in us breaking beans today and the way we were raised doing it. Today we're sitting here at the nice dining room table in air conditioning, but we weren't in that when we were growing up. It was the hot sun.
You were out on the porch.
On the porch, yeah.
I just prefer garden produce because I know that we've not sprayed any chemicals on anything, and yes, we did have quite a few
Them
Japanese beetles, and they just devoured the top of the plant. But then it got to where there were more leaves than they could eat, and they never bothered the beans.
Oh, I walked out this morning and was watering the chickens, and I could smell them grapes all the way up to the well house. I can't wait to
Nadia,
get
can
in.
you turn that down a little bit, please? Thank you.
Thank you, sweetie.
I know, I'm ready to get some apples. I'm gonna freeze some apples.
Whoops.
And pick some grapes and get some grape jelly, and I love grape juice.
See, me and Jimmy loves grape juice. They don't stay at my house 2 or 3 days, and it's like, he could drink 2 quarts a day. You're fine.
You know, I think we're probably, based on having already this one bottle, probably gonna have about close to what, 20-something pints?
Yeah, I'd say.
You
We
want
had
to get ready
30
to have a
something.
full, or hand me the bucket when you get done? Give me my tea.
That would be good.
No, I don't want dirty green beans in my tea. I'll take a few more. I found a towel. Works real good for me when I'm working produce.
Oh, you'll give her plenty, that's just less I have to bring.
Well, somebody's gonna have to be up washing jars, and you know, right now I can't do that, so.
Yeah, I thought of it this morning. I thought, why didn't I throw my jars in the dishwasher last night? I don't think of it.
We have done that before, but
I prefer to do mine that way. But our dishwasher runs so long. This new one he bought a couple of years ago. It seems like it takes 3 or 4 hours for it to go through everything.
well, when you're doing jars, I always turn the dry heat off.
It still takes a while.
It still takes a while. But we don't run it on the light though, we always run it on that sanitized cycle, and that does take longer.
It must be your phone, right?
Yeah, I probably got a text. We'll have to pick the yellow crib in tomorrow.
No, I don't even have mine done up yet.
Well, I got, like I said, I got 5.5 quarts that I brought home.
Will it wait till Friday morning,
Oh,
the okra?
I've already moved up.
No, she's done about cutting.
Oh, yeah, it'll wait till Friday morning. And that's the beauty of it. When you're picking it as often as we're picking it, it will grow long, but it doesn't have time to get tough and woody. Because now I think I had two of those great big long ones that was tough, and I'm quite sure it's probably some that we had missed on the time before.
Yeah, I think I
Is that
cut
the
it
one?
that time.
Well, I missed some too, man. It's not just you. It's green, it's in all that, I mean,
It's hard to see.
It is hard.
That's like these green beans. A lot of times they're hard to see.
Yeah.
You know, the ones we've been eating though, I really, we were eating some the other night, and I found one bad string in them, but really they're not
Not stringy.
as bad as, you know, I thought.
We thought they
Because
did.
it's like, you know, it's like they sit here in the bowl and the strings just pop out, even though you strung them.
I know, I've been picking them out of ours. And this one's real rusty.
And maybe it's the variety of bean, I don't
In
know.
the bucket.
I've not.
That's cool.
And I'm
And Robert,
I'm
these
gonna
are what
put the
kind of
seeds in.
beans?
These are the Kentucky Wonder Pole Beans, the brown Kentucky Wonder Pole Beans. I think there's a white Kentucky Wonder Pole Bean and a brown Kentucky Wonder Pole Bean.
I think these are the ones that Grandpa used to string as leather breeches. Because they didn't
I
have,
heard of leather breeches.
well, they didn't have a lot of places in those days to store, you know. Of course, they didn't have freezers and,
Those were hard to come by.
yeah, and jars were hard to come by and space. So I can remember Grandpa Butler would string these and he would hang them on the back porch like you see the string peppers, you know.
Right. And dry them.
Right, from the Southwest, but they had to be out of where the rain would hit them, you know, because you didn't want them to dry. But when he would cook them, he wouldn't cook the whole string at a time. He'd just cut off a mess and, you know, pull them out. And they were so good.
Mama made some, but I don't think I ever went up when Mama had fixed leather breeches. But I can remember them hanging in the house, and I know that she always fixed leather breeches. But
Yeah, after his were dried, then you come in and in their back room, excuse me, where they kept their canned goods and stuff, you'd see them hanging on the hooks. You know, they had a hand was cramping.
down low. Okay, now we've taken the beans that have been broken and we put them in the pot and let them boil for a while. We probably let them boil just a little more than most people do, but beans have an air pocket inside of them, and we found that if we let them boil for a while before we put the beans in the jar, that tends to get rid of all the air inside the bean. Just makes a prettier bean when we take it out of the canner. And of course, Pam's getting ready to do that. She has her jars, and in each one of her jars, she's already put her salt. Pam is just jarring the beans down in the jars so that they pack good without having to mash them and press on them. She's going to get the beans ready and put them over in the canner, and just like Mom and Grandma did before us, we're going to can our beans.